I've got a friend who just keeps suggesting, why don't you make an episode on depression? Considering what you've been through, you're pretty qualified to talk about it. Am I? My depression did have a big impact on me. It changed the way I see myself and look at this world. I do indeed want to talk about depression, about what it is, how it works, and how it affects us. After several attempts at making this video, I gave up. Depression is a very complex physiological mechanism. I can't make it clear enough to fit into a 5-minute video. I also don't want my content to add to the massive misleading information online. Gathering up all my courage, I eventually determined to share with you my personal experience with depression, so that you can see the world through the eyes of a patient with depression and understand what she's going through. It came suddenly, out of nowhere. At the beginning, I just talked less and became lazier. My mom thought it might be some kind of temporary adolescence syndrome, while I thought I might just not be coping well with high school life. We had no idea what was going on. Things turned bad quickly. My vitality drained away fast, like water leaking from a barrel with a hole. I knew the lights should be turned on when the sun went down, but I just sat there until the whole room went dark. My phone rang, and I just couldn't answer it. My muscles and physical strength were fine, but I felt unable to stand up and walk even a few meters to get a glass of water when I was extremely thirsty. My body was rotting, but my mind was running aimlessly. It went on, day and night. It was exhausting, but I couldn't stop it. I was broken. I knew I was. If my leg was broken, I would get a cast. But this time, I didn't know what to do. Until one day, my mom found me sitting at the table, without moving or eating, from morning until night. My mom was terrified and took me to the doctor. "You are sick. You've got depression," the doctor said. Depression shouldn't be called depression. It's easy to misunderstand that someone with depression is just sad. But some people with depression actually can't feel anything. As for me, I could no longer feel joy. Chocolate was no longer sweet, but more like a pile of mud on my tongue. I could no longer feel sorrow either. I would stare blankly at a movie, no matter how touching it was. When a friend cried to me about her puppy's passing, I just thought, what's the point? Everyone dies eventually. All I could feel was pain. Lots and lots of pain. As human beings, we need to experience different feelings. Happy, sad, hungry, satisfied, heartbroken, and love. Scientists once performed an experiment. They locked people in a small room with no color, no sound, and no objects whatsoever. Such conditions started to be unbearable for these people after barely 15 minutes. They would rather hurt themselves over experiencing this empty numbness. Depression feels as if the mind is locked up in a small room, and there's no way to escape. I struggled and screamed, but I could not escape. The last thing anyone with depression wants to hear is, "Cheer up, everything will be fine." We never say to someone with a fever, "Calm down, lower your temperature." That would be ridiculous. If we did have a way to control the situation, how would we get here in the first place? I stayed home from school and started receiving treatment. My mom was very worried about me, but she knew that too much interference wouldn't do me any good. She never asked me to try to be happy. She just stayed with me as much as she could and brought me something to eat or drink when I needed it. If I had stayed really still for a long time, she came over to see me quietly, in case I did anything stupid. In fact, I barely did anything. I felt better after taking medicine for a while, but the side effects made me very lethargic. I was asleep basically day and night. It was only toward evening that I felt more awake, and then I would go to the nearby playground. My mom didn't want me to go out alone, but I was reluctant to let her follow. Okay. It's good to go out once in a while. It took me a long time to figure out that those words were not just meant for me. More importantly, she was speaking to herself. I thought a lot at the playground. Why am I so useless? Why do things always go wrong when I appear? The pet goldfish I kept died. My parents quarreled and divorced because of me. I dragged my study group down and everyone hated me. There were always a lot of people at the playground when evening approached. A bustling crowd helped me get relaxed. Thus, I became a frequent visitor at the playground. I was increasingly attracted to these people, and some faces became more familiar. I noticed a kid who always enjoyed making a big turtle out of sand and used his yellow bucket as the turtle's hat. I noticed an old man who always ran backwards in his funny pink shorts. I noticed a cute girl who really lost lots of weight by running laps. I also noticed the beautiful sunsets and felt comfortable with the gentle wind on my skin. What I didn't notice was my mom, who followed me secretly to the playground almost every time. About half a year later, when I came home from the playground, I told my mom that I wanted to go back to school. She said, "Okay." Then I returned to my normal life, gradually. This is the story of my depression and me. Thanks to my doctor, Mr. Bernanke, the playground, and I love you, Mom. But I know I didn't beat depression. I just barely survived from it. I'm not sure if it's still in me and whether it'll hit me again someday out of nowhere. I became more aware of my own emotions and became highly interested in the relationship between human beings and the mind. For example, how does the mind affect behaviors? How could such a small pill calm the chaos in my mind? And many other psychology topics from which I benefited a lot. Yeah, big surprise. I'm very happy and willing to share with people about my story and what I've learned. I hope some of you may find them interesting.